Educate your sons and daughters. Send them to school and show them that besides the cartridge box, the ballot box, and the jury box, you have also the knowledge box.
I was raised to believe that excellence is the best deterrent to racism or sexism.
None of us got where we are solely by pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We got here because somebody, a parent, a teacher, an Ivy League crony, or a few nuns, bent down and helped us pick up our boots.
These are the quotes of the 2024 Black History Oratory Competition. Hello, I'm Nikki Zizaza, and welcome. Every year, WJZ shines a spotlight on Black History Month by asking high school students all across Maryland to write an original essay based on one of these quotations. The students with the top scores perform their essays live before an audience to compete for scholarship prize money. For over 30 years, WJZ has proudly challenged our youth to use the power of words to speak up and speak out about the issues that matter. So now we're proud to introduce you to these amazing students as we celebrate Black history and for the first time announce the winners of the 2024 Black History Oratory Competition right here on WJZ.
Marshall was the first African American to become a Supreme Court justice and recognized that the American dream was not accomplished by an individual solely. It took a group effort to achieve the best for America. To me, this quote exemplifies that while our society focuses heavily on the need for independence, help is always necessary in order to achieve our goals.
He inspires me to be selfless and to be humble. Now, as I progress through life, I certainly want to be successful, so I'm going to take all the support I can get. But at the same time, I'm going to bring others with me.
Without her, I wouldn't be able to express myself. Without her, I wouldn't be confident in my voice. Because of her love, patience, and gentleness, I have my own voice where I can easily express myself.
The relationships we build, the changes we can make. That is what will change our tomorrow. We all hold worth. We all hold talent. We all hold power.
Often, sexism is disguised as protecting women from the harsh realities of the world, but it just limits our potential. Luckily, the greatest motivator is someone saying that something cannot be done.
We must embrace the idea that we cannot attribute our achievements to individual merit, but that we be a more empathetic and collective society working towards the path to success. Parents and teachers are living proofs that people picked us up by our boots.
It's a reminder that our success is often a collaborative effort, shaped by the assistance and guidance we receive along the way. Personally, I can trace my own accomplishments back to mentors, educators, and family members that played pivotal roles in my development.
While this is true, what is also true is that when you accomplish things, you should also do it for yourself. Not to prove something, not to look cool or fun, but to be able to show that you can do things if you set your mind to it.
Excellence will always outshine any negativity. Whether black or white, female or male, your excellence will always outshine those factors. Oprah has been raised with this mindset and has used the quote to operate her life. Excellence and success are always able to silence anyone or anything that attempts to stop you.
Women have fought for their right to sit at the table. They have fought for their right to speak. The increase of leadership emphasizes the growing movement of women who now understand the importance of representation, their role in representing.
My thoughts, once suppressed, are reinvigorated. My feet begin to lift of their own volition, but also with the hands, the spirits of the people in my life who have supported me. We are all individuals, yet I do not see myself as being alone.
As a woman, I use the prejudice of others as fuel to prove them wrong. I often have to exert extra energy and study harder because it takes a lot to accomplish dreams like this.
My mother showed excellence through her determination to seek a better life in America for herself and her future family, despite the societal expectations that often limited education for women in Africa. These stories in my family are more than just tales of survival. They represent a legacy of thriving against the odds.
My journey is far from over, but education has equipped me with the compass to chart my course. It's not just about the grades or achievements, but about the resilience, adaptability, and understanding it fosters.
While some may argue that achieving excellence is easier said than done, especially for those of us who face systemic barriers and deep-rooted prejudice. History has shown us that greatness can emerge even in the harshest circumstances.
I am too young to vote. I am too young to serve the jury. I am too young to join the military. But I can fill my knowledge box so that when opportunity arises, I will be ready.
There is no way to get through life on your own. Get the courage to ask for guidance when things get tough, because they will. And you need someone there to help you and support you through it. Even if it's just a friend, ask them for their point of view or opinion on a subject.
So now I implore you, dear listeners, to take a few seconds and think of those who have helped you along your journey. How did they aid you? Regardless of whether it was through grand gestures or a simple, "Are you okay?" I pray that was impactful for you as mine was for me.
We as humans often believe that we can do everything on our own. However, the truth is far from that. We navigate through life by leaning on people for help, allowing others to be there for us to ensure they can catch us and put us back on our feet when we're about to fall.
These collectively help to create new mindsets and allow us to perform at our best. The right people can help us reach our full potential and create a brighter future for ourselves.
Aren't these students just incredible? Persuasive writing takes passion, and performing for an audience takes courage. But public speaking has the power to inform minds and shape hearts. Miana Massey brings us one of the country's most influential public speakers who found his voice right here in Maryland. Take a look.
African American history is rich with orators whose words changed the world. But perhaps no one is more relevant to this tradition than Frederick Douglass, whose presence at the podium helped change the national conversation about slavery.
When we think of the name of Frederick Augustus Bailey Douglass, we really have a captive individual who is swathed in this lovely regalia of the 19th century. But he understood that his image was also matched with his words.
Born into slavery on a plantation on the Eastern Shore, Douglass learned the alphabet at age 12 from the wife of his Baltimore slaveholder, who swiftly brought lessons to a halt. Determined to read and write, Douglass learned any way he could, by copying signs at the shipyard where he worked, even by challenging white children in his neighborhood to outspell him.
So using other children, he learns to read. Using other children, he's able to experience his full other half of himself, not just the African that was enslaved, but the American that was also born free.
Douglass would later refer to literacy as the pathway from slavery to freedom, and in 1838 he used the identity papers of a freed black sailor to escape north out of Baltimore and across the Susquehanna River. His public speaking career began when abolitionist William Lloyd Garrison first heard Douglass describe his personal experiences with slavery. Astounded by the emotion Douglass drew from the crowd, Garrison wrote, quote, "I think I never hated slavery so intensely as at that moment."
And through his oratorical skills, his commanding experience through having grasped the whip of one of his slave drivers really helps us get a visceral understanding of what the captive experience was for African Americans born enslaved.
Garrison asked Douglass to travel the world as an anti-slavery lecturer, and Douglass spoke boldly, often risking his own safety to do so.
I am yet a slave, yet for the sake of the cause, for the sake of humanity, I will mention the names, and glory in running the risk. I have the gratification to know that if I fall by the utterance of truth in this matter, that if I shall be hurled back into bondage to gratify the slaveholder to be killed by inches, that every drop of blood which I shall shed, every groan which I shall utter, every pain which shall rack my frame, every sob in which I indulge, shall be the instrument, under God, of tearing down the bloody pillar of slavery, and of hastening the day of deliverance for 3 millions of my brethren in bondage.
He was the first enslaved man many white Northerners had ever seen. And as the historian Carter G. Woodson later wrote, when Douglass spoke, men shouted, "What have we listened to, a thing or man? We have heard a man." And to a country that declared all men are created equal, Douglass delivered a scathing criticism in his most famous speech. When invited to bring the keynote address at the Independence Day celebration in 1852, Douglass boldly asked, "What to the slave is the 4th of July?"
The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought light and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice. I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhumane mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today?
He sees a very polished and elite class in carriages, eating off of china and sleeping in feather beds. Then he also sees the enslaved person in these hollowed huts, sleeping on the floor, eating the husk of corn. And it's because of those juxtaposed realities that Frederick Douglass uses his oratorical skills and his physical presence to reimagine what an African American man, what an African American citizen can be.
Frederick Douglass wrote a best-selling autobiography and even advised President Lincoln, but it's his personal story and how he told that to an audience that make him one of the most important public speakers of our time.
And WJZ is proud to bring the tradition of oratory to our young people today. Before we take a break, it's time to announce the 3rd place winner. And the 3rd place winner receives $250 from WJZ and $1,000 courtesy of Walmart. So let's go back to Nikki Zizaza at Morgan State University.
Thanks, Sina. And the 3rd place winner of the 2024 WJZ Black History Oratory Competition is Sharon Bala. Let's go to his speech right now.
Self-made. For most people, those 2 words evoke a sense of intense respect and awe. But is anyone truly self-made? America's first African-American Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall, so eloquently stated that none of us got where we are solely by pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We got here because somebody, a parent, a teacher, an Ivy League crony, or just a few nuns, bent down and helped us pick up our boots. Marshall's wise words disprove the idea of an absolutely self-made person. Every successful individual had a mentor, a pillar of support, and a source of inspiration. Yet, so many of us fall into this trap where we reject support and buy the idea of individualistic success. But let's imagine for a second that life is a towering wall. On one side, the grass is green. This is the world of success and satisfaction. On the other side, it's far bleaker. This is the world of dissatisfaction and adversity. Now, how can we climb over the wall and enter the land of success? By ourselves, we can only reach up so high. Attempting to scale the entire wall would be a futile effort. The only way we can get over it is by standing on the backs of others and using their support. Now, this is where humility becomes extremely important. Take the help of those who want you to succeed, because if you don't, you'll never reach the other side. Now, say you've opened yourself up and allowed others to help you over the wall into the land of success. You're happy, you're satisfied, and you've accomplished your wildest goals. So what now? Now you give back. Because part of humility is realizing that not only do you need others' help to succeed, but others need your help too. So once you've made it, throw a ladder over and help those who don't have a person to support them like you did. Black History Month celebrates the incredible contributions made by America's Black community, a community that has unfortunately long faced the crippling impacts of racism and oppression. To me, selflessness means being an ally to the Black community and other communities that have faced systemic oppression. It's important to understand that we live in a world of haves and have-nots. Not everyone has the privilege of a support system. So to me, Marshall's quote means to be somebody else's ladder. He inspires me to be selfless and to be humble. Now, as I progress through life, I certainly want to be successful, so I'm going to take all the support I can get. But at the same time, I'm going to bring others with me. Thank you so much for this opportunity once again, and good luck to my fellow competitors.
You're watching the WJZ Black History Oratory Competition Special, brought to you by Morgan State University, growing the future, leading the world.
Leadership, innovation, excellence. This is Morgan State, Maryland's preeminent public urban research university, home to more than 140 academic programs where Morgan students thrive in the classroom, pursue meaningful research, serve their communities, and are inspired by award-winning faculty. Develop lifelong professional skills in a diverse academic community anchored in tradition and transforming for tomorrow. Start your path towards earning your degree today. Choose Morgan, growing the future, leading the world.
We are Black and Unlimited. Black creators and brands coming together in our unlimited brilliance. From our passion for personal wellness, to the endless ways we express ourselves through our hair, to the magic that makes the impossible possible, and to the food we love that brings us together. Walmart's pairing Black creators with their favorite brands to create one-of-a-kind works of art. Join us in celebrating Black brands today and every day at Walmart.
I was paying too much for resources. But now I'm going places with my Enoch Pratt free library card.
Serious side effects like knowledge, access, and literacy have happened. A Pratt Library Card may lower your risk of boredom, loneliness, or ignorance. Get help right away if you need a book or any other resource. Common side effects of a library card include more money in your wallet, curiosity, and independence. In the event of unexplained joy, see your library staff member right away.
My journey started here, and yours can too, at the Enoch Pratt Free Library.
Dr. Hickey's class presents
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s On the Mountaintop speech.
Something is happening in our world. The masses of people are rising up.
And wherever they assemble today, the cry is always the same.
We want to be free.
It is no longer a choice between violence and nonviolence in this world. It's nonviolence or non-existence.
We are masters in our nonviolent movement and disarming police forces.
I remember in Birmingham, Alabama, when we were in that majestic struggle there, we would move out of 16th Street Baptist Church day after day. By the hundreds we would move out, and Bull Connor would tell them to send the dogs forth, and they did come. But we just went for the dogs singing and can't let nobody turn me around. Bull Connor next would say, turn the fire hoses on.
Bull Connor didn't know history. He knew a kind of physics that somehow didn't relate to the trans physics that we knew about.
And that was the fact that there was a certain kind of fire that no water could put out.
And we went before the fire hoses that couldn't stop us. We were going on. We don't have to argue with anybody.
We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words. We don't any bricks or bottles. We don't any Molotov cocktails.
We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country to say God sent us here. Say you're not treating these children right.
We've got to give ourselves to the struggle until the end. We've got to see it through. And when we have our march, be there. If it means leaving work, if it means leaving school, be there. Be concerned about your brother. Either we go up together or we go down together.
Let's rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let's stand up with a greater determination and let us move on these powerful days, these days of challenge, to make America what it ought to be.
We've got some difficult days ahead of us, but it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop and I don't mind.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go up to the mountain.
And I've looked over.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you,
but I want you to know tonight that we, as people, will get to the promised land.
I would like to give a very special thanks to Stoneleigh Elementary School for sharing their annual Black History Month program with us. I think I saw some future oratory competitors in there. And coming up, we're going to be announcing our second place winner. But first, we'd like to take a moment to thank the judges who read hundreds of essays, and they do so every year and have the daunting task, it's not easy, of choosing the top 3 winners.
WJZ would like to thank the 2024 Black History Oratory Competition judges. From WJZ, Michelle Wilson. From the Enoch Pratt Free Library, Jacqueline Birdnell. And from Morgan State University, Dr. Denise Jarrett and Jennifer Umezinwa. Thank you.
When I first came to Maryland, I was starting a new job as a co-anchor of the 6 o'clock news on WJZ TV. In Maryland, I found myself. Maryland is full to the brim with opportunity. It was back then, it is now.
I bet you didn't know that Oprah worked at WJZ. Did you know, in fact, history can thank Maryland for the lives and work of all 3 of this year's quotation authors, Thurgood Marshall, Frederick Douglass, and Oprah Winfrey. So now let's turn to Thurgood Marshall, our nation's first African-American Supreme Court Justice. Janae Reese tells us how growing up in Baltimore challenged Marshall to one day challenge injustice.
Before he served in the highest court in the land, and before he won the landmark case that brought an end to segregation in public schools. Thurgood Marshall was just a boy in this segregated elementary school right here in Baltimore.
He never forgot his native roots in Baltimore, those segregated schools and that segregated neighborhood. To that end, he would then take this conversation to the national level and seek to undo the hard walls established by segregation and chip them down so they could become bridges in which we could walk across.
In Baltimore, Marshall's father, a waiter, introduced him to the courtroom at an early age, taking him and his brother to watch trials as a hobby. Then, in what is now known as Frederick Douglass High School, a prank landed Marshall in the principal's office. His punishment? Well, to read the Constitution of the United States.
He's not realizing the tightness or the stringent nature of segregation till he is told no. And I believe with the precocious nature of his childhood, he never lost that. It now would take a much more laser focus in regards to civil rights in dismantling this great wall that was put up against African Americans.
The future Mr. Civil Rights heard no when the University of Maryland denied his law school application because of his race. So Marshall chose Howard University, where the dean inspired him not only to make a living as a lawyer, but to fulfill a calling.
Charles Hamilton Houston, who really galvanized all of his students in that law class at Howard in the 40s to really think about civil rights and taking apart that jungle gym that caused a bifurcated society.
5 years after his own denial, Marshall sued the University of Maryland on behalf of another black student and won. 5 years after that, he became the chief of the NAACP's Legal Defense and Education Fund, which brought civil rights cases across the country to the courtroom. Marshall won 29 of his 32 cases before the Supreme Court. The most impactful of those wins was the 1954 case of Brown versus Board of Education, which overturned the long-held doctrine, separate but equal, and made public school segregation illegal.
Brown versus the Board of Education marks not only history of the court, but also Marshall himself as the great architect of what would become the modern civil rights movement in the legal jurisprudence.
Despite his legal success, Marshall never forgot Baltimore, and Baltimore hasn't forgotten him. Today, PS 103 is a construction site. The 150-year-old building is the future home of the Justice Thurgood Marshall Amenity Center. The center will provide education and technology resources to the West Baltimore neighborhood where Marshall lived and worked. The life Thurgood Marshall found right here in Baltimore helped shape the man who would help shape our nation into a country ever striving for equality and justice for all.
And now it's time to find out who is the second place winner of this year's Black History Oratory Competition. The second place winner receives $500 from WJZ and $1,500 courtesy of Walmart. So let's head back to Nikki.
Okay, here we go. The second place winner is Amelie Cook. Once again, here's her winning speech.
That look that we get when we walk into a room and stick out like a sore thumb. That look that we get when we say something smart or correct of disdain mixed with surprise. That look that we get when we defend ourselves. That look is normally accompanied by the words, "Don't be so dramatic." But we're not being dramatic. Racism and sexism is an inability to see others as equals because of skin color or gender. They're used to keep white men feeling superior. They tell women, "You will never be capable." People of color, "You will always be below us." It's used to keep people down. Oprah Winfrey said, "I was raised to believe that excellence is the best deterrent for racism or sexism." I believe this to be true. People can deny something all they want, but seeing is believing. Often, sexism is disguised as protecting women from the harsh realities of the world, but it just limits our potential. Luckily, the greatest motivator is someone saying that something cannot be done. My mom was told by her high school guidance counselor that she could not be an architect because she wasn't good enough at math. 7 years later, with a master's degree in architecture, she sent him a copy of her first paycheck. The guidance counselor sparked a fire in my mother that still burns every time she's called sweetie by a contractor or mistaken as her boss's wife. Surya Bonali, a French Olympic figure skater, joined the white-dominated sport in the 80s. She was seen as not thin enough, not graceful enough, and although no one said it out loud, not white enough. She decided that if she couldn't join him, she'd beat him. She became the first and only person ever to do a backflip on ice and land on one blade. The Barbie movie. Now, I wasn't expecting much cinematically speaking, but it's a feminist masterpiece. Yes, Barbie, who inspires eating disorders across America. Isn't she just great? Matter of fact, she is. Barbie is more than what she appears. She struggles but is poised. She hurts but she keeps it together. She's disrespected but she fights back. Joe Coy is an American stand-up comedian who recently hosted the Golden Globes, displaying that sometimes excellence isn't enough. During his opening monologue, he says, Oppenheimer is based on a 721-page, Pulitzer Prize-winning book about the Manhattan Project. And Barbie is on a plastic doll with big... Yeah, he didn't get it. Men see the Barbie movie as some silly little film that doesn't make sense. But it's not surprising that it doesn't. They were never taught to care about what shape their face or body was, to watch what they eat, or how to look desirable. Sometimes showing excellence doesn't have to prove people wrong. It can also inspire people to change things. Oprah Winfrey was spot on. Women and people of color have to work twice as hard to get half of the reward. But it's worth it, because we are enacting change. Some people believe that there is no more racism or sexism in the United States, that we are the epitome of equality, but we are not. People need to see that. People need to see that, yes, we have made a lot of progress, but now is no time for a break. If we stop, if we falter, our rights will be taken away again. I think that was pretty well written for a girl. Thank you.
You're watching the WJZ Black History Oratory Competition Special, brought to you by Walmart.
We are Black and Unlimited. Black creators and brands coming together in our unlimited brilliance. From our passion for personal wellness, to the endless ways we express ourselves through our hair, to the magic that makes the impossible possible, and to the food we love that brings us together. Walmart's pairing Black creators with their favorite brands to create one-of-a-kind works of art. Join us in celebrating Black brands today and every day at Walmart.
Leadership, innovation, excellence. This is Morgan State, Maryland's preeminent public urban research university, home to more than 140 academic programs where Morgan students thrive in the classroom, pursue meaningful research, serve their communities, and are inspired by award-winning faculty. Develop lifelong professional skills in a diverse academic community anchored in tradition and transforming for tomorrow. Start your path towards earning your degree today. Choose Morgan, growing the future, leading the world.
In thinking about history, I really want to celebrate WJZ for their oratorical contest. I know the parents would be very happy for their children to be involved, and those who win, super happy. But for those of us who are observers, or those of us who are rather apathetic, you really need to consider history as intellectual nutrition, and you don't want to be malnourished. In the age in which we have fake news and deep fakes and other ways in which we interpret history through TikTok or any other kind of social medium, the medium is not the problem, it's the source. And history provides a great source for us. We have monuments, we have books, we have libraries, we have archives, we have the lived experience of people who are older than you, that you should engage and learn about the past. It sounds boring and tired. It's not. It's intellectual nutrition. So Brussels sprouts just as well as a brownie, carrots just as much as carrot cake. All of these things help you have a balanced view of who you are, where we've come from, and where we need to go. So I encourage everyone, if you haven't entered the oratorical contest for 2024, that's okay, there's 2025. You need to consider entering and expand your horizons beyond you, your screen, and your posse, and really take a look at history. Maryland is very rich, very deep, and very inclusive. Thank you, WJZ, for what you do.
If you're looking for some of history's biggest trailblazers, you really don't have to look far. Stefan Dingle takes us to the Reginald F. Lewis Museum of Maryland African American History and Culture to find out more.
Baltimore native Reginald F. Lewis established the first African American law firm on Wall Street and became the first African American to build a billion-dollar company. He's just one of the many pioneering African Americans from Maryland who paved the way in the worlds of business, sports, science, and more. Almost 70 years before the Civil War, Baltimore County-born Benjamin Banneker helped Andrew Ellicott survey the boundaries of the future Washington, D.C. Undoubtedly a genius, Banneker charted the tides and even predicted a solar eclipse. Once, to satisfy his own curiosity, Banneker built a pendulum clock completely out of wood that kept time for decades.
Where we find his voice is in his actions, the creation of the clock that he made without having ever seen one, and the idea of using science and astronomy. So, unlike presenting speeches or doing things in a magnificent oral way, he uses science and his creations to speak to other aspects of humanity.
And Banneker used his scientific achievements to speak to the humanity of all Africans in a letter to Thomas Jefferson.
Even though President Jefferson disagreed with him, he still argued the case in terms of himself being an African American, gifted with genius, as equivalent to those who were in chains, who had not had their genius yet sparked because it was dulled by enslavement.
In the early 1800s, Mother Mary Elizabeth Lang left Cuba for the United States and settled in Baltimore, a city with more free black citizens than enslaved.
She establishes the Oblate Sisters of Providence Nunnery. It is the oldest African American nunnery in the country.
And seeing the dire need for schooling for African American children, Mother Mary Lang opened her own school in her home in Fells Point.
So being an African American immigrant woman of a unique faith, Catholicism, really led her to be kind of a unicorn. And in the midst of all of that, she was able to crusade with her vision for education and faith. That's a remarkable legacy to leave and a remarkable legacy to uphold.
Today, a school named in her honor continues that legacy, and many have since lobbied for her to become a saint. Before Muhammad Ali, there was Joe Gans. Considered the greatest lightweight boxer of all time, Gans shucked oysters before boxing paid the bills, and despite being forced to throw some matches to white opponents, he became the first African-American world boxing champion in 1902. Known as the Old Master, he was one of the first professional boxers to use strategy to win by studying the movements of his opponents. At age 3, he played drums on pots and pans. At age 11, William Henry Chick Webb worked a paper route to save enough money to buy his first real set. And despite an injury that curved his spine, Webb moved his natural talent out of East Baltimore and up to New York, where he founded one of the most influential swing bands of all time. Perhaps history's most famous Marylander, Harriet Tubman, blazed a trail of freedom for escaped slaves along the Underground Railroad.
And as we think about her and reflect, we need to consider all aspects of her personality. She was not just a liberator of enslaved persons. She was not just an abolitionist or a suffragist. She was also a Union spy.
Disguised as a farmhand or an old woman, Tubman scouted southern plantations and created a spy ring to gather intelligence for the Union Army.
She was commanding formerly enslaved persons to follow her to Union lines. She was dealing with men and women, both military and non-military. So that's a very unique space to be in, a very athletic and intellectual space. And she navigated those lines meticulously.
In 1863, Tubman became the first woman in our nation's history to lead an armed military operation.
And we thank her for her service as a patriot to the true democracy we're living now as a result of the Union having won the war.
From the battlefield to the boxing ring, our nation's history is full of trailblazers from all walks of life who walked a path through Maryland.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to take a moment to say congratulations to all of this year's finalists. You should be proud of what you achieved. It took a lot of hard work to get here, and it takes a lot of courage to speak to an audience. Trust me, I know. And I'm here to tell you that you have a voice that people need to hear, now more than ever before. Look at our nation's history and find your heroes to follow. Keep working hard, develop your talents and skills, and never forget to speak up for your communities. With young people like you taking the lead, the future of our great state is remarkably bright. Congratulations, and good luck, and go Maryland.
Our special thanks to Governor Moore for sharing that encouraging message with our finalists. Coming up, Maryland's own Morgan State University Choir will perform a riveting musical interpretation of Martin Luther King's famous speech, I Have a Dream. But first, the moment you've all been waiting for, who will win the Black History Oratory Competition? The first place winner gets $1,000 from WJZ and $2,500 courtesy of Walmart. So for the third and final time, Mickey, let's find out who won.
And the first place winner of the 2024 WJZ Black History Oratory Competition is Chidi Owanibe. Let's watch his winning speech right now.
I am fortunate. I am fortunate that my grandparents are still alive and can share their stories. I am the grandson of a Civil War serviceman, the benefactor of generations that challenged societal norms to earn education, and the witness to a judicial system that never even tried to protect my community's civil rights. Even today, thousands fear being kidnapped or killed in my motherland. I am a first-generation Nigerian American, and when I visited Nigeria, me and my family were rushed into a tinted SUV by armed guards because Boko Haram, a militant group that disagrees with the benefits afforded to my ethnic group, had kidnapped 15 students earlier that month. My grandparents fought, voted, and organized to earn basic opportunities. But knowledge allowed them to take advantage of those opportunities when they came. When Frederick Douglass said, "Educate your sons and daughters and show them that besides the cartridge box, the ballot box, and the jury box, you also have the knowledge box." He was also giving us a way on how to fight oppression, but he was also supplementing this statement: success is when preparation meets opportunity. While the first three boxes Douglass mentioned create opportunity, the knowledge box allows you to take advantage of those opportunities. For example, even with Anne Marie's financial support, Frederick Douglass may have struggled to take the train from Philadelphia to Baltimore if he could not read the rail signs. I am proud to be American, and I know that many have fought for the opportunities I have. When Sergeant William Harvey Carney served in the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment with the cartridge box on his right hip and became the first African American to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor, he was fighting for opportunity. When the 15th Amendment failed to protect citizens and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee organized a freedom vote, its leaders were fighting for opportunity. When the NAACP took on the case of the Scottsboro 9 and challenged years of unjustified incarceration and terrorization of the Black community, they were fighting for opportunity. In Mr. Douglass's autobiography, he recounts hearing his slave owner Hugh Ogg say, "Knowledge unfits a child to be a slave." This helped Douglass understand the direct pathway from slavery to freedom. I am too young to vote. I am too young to serve the jury. I am too young to join the military. But I can fill my knowledge box so that when opportunity arises, I will be ready, even if that opportunity requires me to bear arms for my country, vote for my elected official, or listen earnestly to the testimony of a convicted man or woman. The wisdom of Frederick Douglass's quote is that there are many boxes for fighting for opportunity, but the knowledge box not only allows you to fight for opportunity, but take advantage of that opportunity. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chidi. What a terrific performance. WJZ would like to say thank you to the students, parents, teachers, and principals who made this year's competition a reality. And students, remember that with education and passion, you can make a difference. With young people like these, the future is bright. Now let's send it back to Vic Carter in the studio.
I think you'll agree that we have seen some amazing performances tonight, and we'll conclude the evening with a very special musical performance. On August 28, 1963, over 250,000 people gathered at the National Mall during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. On that day, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered one of the most important speeches in our nation's history. So tonight, the prestigious Morgan State University Choir Singers, led by Dr. Eric Conway, will perform Charles Dickerson's musical tribute, "I Have a Dream."
us not wallow in the valley of despair. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. Let us not wallow. The people yet languish in poverty inhabits the land. Languish in poverty inhabits the people yet languish in poverty inhabits the land. Languish in poverty inhabits the promise of life and liberty is and the next promise of life and liberty and the next promise of life and liberty is and the next promise of life and liberty has not extended to difficulties today and we face my difficulties today and we face difficulties today and we face tomorrow. I say to you, I have a dream. A dream that one day this nation will rise up and live the meaning of its creed. That all men are created equal. That all men are created equal. I have a dream. That one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and those that own them will sit at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day in the state of Mississippi, sweltering under the heat of injustice and oppression, transform, an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my children, my 4 little children, will live in a nation, nations where they're judged not by the color of their skin, not by the color of their skin, not the color of their skin, not by the color of their skin. The content of their character. Will join with little white boys and little white girls. Little black boys and little black girls will join with little white boys and little white girls as brothers and sisters, as brothers and sisters. dream that every valley shall be exalted, shall be exalted. I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. Hill and mountain may fall, every hill and mountain may fall. I have a dream that every valley shall be exalted, shall be exalted, shall be exalted, every exalted. I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream, and the glory of the Lord, and the glory of the Lord, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, revealed, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and the flesh shall see it together. I have a dream, a dream, a dream, a dream, a dream, a dream, a So let us not wallow in the valley of despair. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you, I have a dream. This is our hope. This is our faith. With this faith, we will hew out of the mountains of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will transform this discord of our nation into a symphony, a symphony, a beautiful symphony of brotherhood, a brotherhood, a symphony of brotherhood. And with this faith, we will work together. With this faith, we will work together. With this faith, we will pray together, struggle together, go to jail together, go to jail together, knowing that one day we will be free, and this will be the day, this will be the day when God's children will sing with new meaning. My country sings of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing, of thee I sing. rooftops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mountains of New York. Let it ring from the heights of Pennsylvania and the provincial slopes of California. And let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia, and the Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. Let freedom ring from Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. When freedom rings from every village, every hamlet, every slate, and every city, then soon the day will come when all of God's children, all of God's children, black man and white man, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will join hands and sing. Join hands and sing. Join hands and sing. All our children will join hands and sing. Free at last. Free at last. Let God Almighty will
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next year. Good night.